Hi, this is Dr. Kimberley Linert, author of Visualizing Happiness in Every Area of Your Life and host of this podcast, Incredible Life Creator. And today I have with me DeDee Cai. Hey, DeDee.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me today. It's a pleasure and also it's such an honor to be here with you.
Yes, and I am so happy to have you. So let me read your bio so people know who you are. DeDee Cai is the founder and performance coach of Fit to Profit, a company that utilizes psychology, cognitive science, holistic wellness, and business to help entrepreneurs get mentally fit to obtain peak level of performance in their businesses. With over 15 years of experience in running her own businesses in the brick and mortar and health and wellness industry, DeDee married her love for living an optimal life and business to create Fit to Profit. She believes that women deserve to have it all, and she's on a mission to empower women entrepreneurs to create financial freedom and build wealth from the inside out. Well, I know you have quite a journey on the way to where you are now. So please tell us your story.
Yes, thank you again for sharing the space and having me here. As a first generation immigrant, I was raised to honor the system and follow the footsteps of I want to say my parents and I guess the people in front of us before that took the steps before us. And I was encouraged to go to school, do well in school, get a good job, and I should find my happiness. And I did, yes, every single step that was laid out for me. I did really well in school. I put myself through school, even through my journey of working full time and going to school full time. Did that and got myself into a really good corporate job as a first job when I first graduated college. And I found myself in the position where within 6 months, I looked around and I was sitting in a cubicle and thought, wow, this is the happiness and fulfillment that I was told I should look forward to.
Uh-huh.
No, I felt isolated. I felt defeated. I felt almost part of me was betrayed, like, oh my gosh, I trusted everyone around me and follow all the steps and did everything I thought right to get here. And before I knew it, I resigned from my very first job after 6 months, and I was on a journey to find what it is for me. And right around the same time, my parents got divorced, and I am the only child, and I was wanting to go to medical school. That's why I have the cognitive science background, because I actually wanted to help people on a mental side of things. But I chose to stay back and help my mom to be her emotional support. And she asked me to be her business partner and open a restaurant, which is her long life dream. And I said yes. We launched out to open our brick and mortar restaurant business in conjunction to helping her run salons on the side as well. And yes, that's my whole brick and mortar journey started in my 20s. And I really loved it. I was that we were that hole in the wall. Everyone knew. Everyone calls on the phone. I knew exactly who was calling, what they wanted, and we really felt like we built a community for ourselves. We were the first Vietnamese restaurant in the area as well too. Like the closest restaurant Vietnamese to that area would have been 45 minutes. And yes, I was really proud to have started something and really felt like I was successful at it. 3.5 years in, um, I once again, just like that feeling I felt like stuck, defeated in that cubicle, I felt the same on my journey with the restaurant. I think the moment that made me realize this is not for me was my boyfriend and I was on vacation, and I just couldn't be present. Like we were in the most beautiful cafe in Venice, Italy. It's supposed to be like the place where you feel love. Like, and my boyfriend's with me. I mean, we had everything, but I was so out of it. I was actually just staring at my phone, thinking, waiting that someone was going to call and I have to put a fire out. instead of being present with my boyfriend, enjoying life. And I was like, wow, this has to be an American nightmare. This is not an American dream. that everyone had talked about, where you put all your life savings into creating something that you think is yours, and it's the ticket, the golden ticket to like the ultimate success, and it wasn't. I said, if this is it, I don't want any of it. So that was a moment for me. I came back and realized, I was like, Mom, I don't think this is for me either. And I'm grateful. She said, honey, whatever you do, I want you to be happy. So that this is not your thing, it's my dream, and you agreed to it. And if it's not your thing, we don't have to continue. And so it was 5 years in, and we were going to lease re-sign the lease, but we didn't. And so I said, I'm going to really take a step back, because I was working 18-hour days. I was dating my boyfriend. I didn't see him. Poor man was coming to help me open the restaurant, come during lunch to help me with the lunch rush, come after work to help me with the dinner rush. I mean, that was not a life that he signed up for.
Mhm,
And I even had a moment where I said, look, I mean, if you have to depart, or we have to part ways, that's fine, because I don't think this is fair for you. But he stuck around. That's why we're married now for
mhm,
17 years. But yeah, and I said, this is not it. And I said, it's time to close the chapter. And yes, that's what we decided. And right around the same time, he proposed, and we were getting married. And the moment where I thought that life is going to be so incredible, like I just got through like the two really tough challenges where I didn't know what I was supposed to do with my life. Now at least I'm getting married, and I can reset. I can reset and take care of myself. And yes, life doesn't always happen that way.
mhm.
The week, right? It was literally 7 days before my wedding. My best friend went missing. And within 48 hours, the cops called and they found her. She committed suicide in her car.
Oh,
So talking about the dichotomy of life, like I'm getting married is supposed to be the best moment of my entire life, and then I'm losing, like the best thing that was for me too.
mhm,
So with that, in that moment, I buried her July 4th. Our wedding was July 7th. After everything that week made me realize that, oh my goodness, I was suffering from the same thing she was suffering from, which is depression and anxiety. And I just didn't know. I was suffering in silence, and I thought that was my normal, right? And so that's why I did everything that everyone else has wanted me to do, right? Go to school, be that good girl, do everything right. And,
mhm,
and just so that to prove myself, because I didn't feel worthy.
mhm,
And so I said, wow, who has to die so I can live? And that moment that I just channeled, all of my grief positively by saying, now I have the opportunity perhaps to heal myself. And I vowed to myself that no one ever has to go through what I went through that week. Like, no one. If I could do anything within my power, I have the responsibility to prevent this from ever happening to anyone that I know. And so, yeah, that's why I promised myself I was going to take a big step back, and I did to take care of myself. I started with taking care of myself on a physical level. I was exercising, I was moving my body, I was being outside in nature, which led me into yoga and mindfulness, which led me into holistic health coaching, because I wanted to learn more about from the inside, like what it takes. Yes, the nutrition, the diet, and everything. But what about the mind? What about the emotional side of things? So, got me into that course. And during graduation, what was really the moment coming full circle for me was they taught us that if you wanted to turn it into a career, it was possible that you can become a holistic health coach. And I said, oh my goodness, I
mhm,
went to school wanting to be a therapist, but it didn't happen.
mhm,
But now it's happening, and it's even better because I didn't have to spend those many years in medical school, nor I have to worry about writing prescriptions. So
mhm,
wow. So that was the moment where I said, this is what I'm meant to do. And it is in alignment with what I am called to do from my experience with the tragedy that I experienced, during that week. And so I launched my business. And I was so excited. This is 2015. And I said, I'm going to save every single person that I come in contact with. And no, that was not the case. When I launched and I started pitching my services, no one wanted to buy it.
Oh no.
Everyone, once again, right? Like talking about failure after failure after failure. And no one wanted to buy my holistic health coaching services, which I thought was the golden ticket. I said, this is it. This is it. This is how I'm going to save myself and the world, the rest of the world. But that's okay. What's interesting, shortly after that, I didn't give up. I signed 3 clients in a row. What was interesting is they were not interested in holistic health coaching. However, because I have the brick and mortar experience, I built all of my businesses from scratch. These clients came asking for support with helping them start their own businesses. So basically, I fell into business development and consulting. I just taught everyone exactly what I did with all of my businesses. And that's how it all started. I just got into the coaching industry that way. And 5 years in, coaching my client, and everything was great. I had a great opportunity working with clients from scratch to like 6 figures, very short. And they feel, and most of them actually come to me just with a really simple idea of like, I want to work for myself, which reminded me when I stepped away from my corporate job and said, you know what, maybe working for someone else wasn't it. Maybe I'm going to work for myself. So most of them came to me with just the idea of, I don't know what I really want to do, but I want to work for myself and really try on this entrepreneurship thing to see if it's for me. And oftentimes they come with an idea. It's not sound. So you have to put a business plan behind it, and you have to really get them to really see that whatever experience or expertise they have is transferable, and that they can still help people in XYZ way. Just happens to be building them up at the same time, helping them build a business model that fits their lifestyle. So I really enjoy it the whole way through. What was really interesting was every single one of them seemed to be challenged with, it's not the strategy and the business plan that we came up with, but it was more of, most of them always have the ups and downs. Like they would be so into it and focus for a short amount of time, and they will tail off. And what came to for me to realize, I was like, wow, what I have been working on with myself was mindset and self-development. As much as these entrepreneurs were really focused on building their businesses, they were not as focused and determined and disciplined in building themselves as CEOs. So that's why I rebranded, and it's called Fit to Profit, for the reason being, I believe that every single CEO should really focus on herself holistically, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, so she can run successful businesses from the inside out. Because can you imagine showing up when you're sick or you didn't have enough sleep? You don't have the clarity, the energy, or the focus to take on your tasks for the day. Hence, the result is not comparable to when you are at your peak performance. So that just got me on a whole space of really focusing on creating a method and a program where, yes, I am still business developing, helping people with business development, but there is a holistic end side of things where from the inside out, I get to build the woman, and really trusting the process and allowing her to see her true potential in the process, so that she feels worthy enough not only to do the work, but also to receive the success that is coming along the way. Oftentimes, for us women, is I have feelings about this, is that we're not feeling deserving as we are progressing, as we are achieving that next level of success, and therefore we can't never hit that next level, or we can't be consistent, because that's self-sabotage, and that's imposter syndrome, and that the self-doubt, and all of those things have to be handled along the way. It's not one of those things that you just do once and it's done. It's not. Then when the next level of success is the next level of mindset barrier that you have to be able to handle and practice and control. And so that's who I am today. I would say I'm a business development coach. Depends on who you ask, but I really care about building the woman from the inside out. As the, again, third world country kind of girl, right? And we didn't have a real toilet. We have an outhouse instead, to be where I am today, where, where I live in my dream location in Sarasota, Florida, by the beaches. I am happily married. For my husband and I have been together for 17 years. I have two amazing kids. They're in private school. I mean, the best education that they can ever ask for. So I'm sharing all that to say, as you can see, my journey, it hasn't been all rainbows and unicorns and all of that. But I share that to say, if I wouldn't be here today, if I didn't have the right mindset,
Mhm.
right? If I wasn't building myself up from the very beginning. So the importance is not so much about the tactics and what it looks like from the outside, but we have to really build ourselves up from the inside. And through my journey, as you've heard, I've been able to heal myself also holistically and alternatively from depression, anxiety. And, even at one point, I was suicidal, just like my girlfriend. But life is very different for me today. But because I have been able to, and also grateful enough to have the opportunity to work on myself, and therefore I have now the responsibility, right, to pass that on, to anyone who's open for it. Um, so that's my story so far. There are going to be other details that may come up along our conversation. But this is, yes, as you can see, it has been a personal journey. The business has truly evolved. I don't know where it's going to go, but ultimately, my biggest thing right now is incorporating the spiritual piece into my business. And I'm also volunteering and also coaching at my local church as well, doing the exact same thing in my business, but also helping people one on one with really navigating life and then adding the spirituality into their life, just how I've been doing that in my business. And
Mhm.
so that's who I am, Kimberly. Thank you so much for being so patient. I know I have many details in the story, but I feel that it's important to share. We have more downs than ups, but every obstacle is an opportunity, and we have to be able to see the light, as long as we're willing to, walk the path.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and being so vulnerable. And, I found that to be true. Your success outside is conditional. It's conditional on how
Mhm.
big or how you've grown inside. So you're only going to get as far on your outside success as you are successfully, you know, growing yourself. It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so many people do think it's like tactics. Well, if I just have the right business, if I just have the right strategy, if I just have the right marketing, I'm going to be successful. But they forgot that their inside
Hmm.
reflects on the outside. And so if they're not growing inside, their business is not going to grow outside.
Absolutely. Yes, 100%. And again, oftentimes because of the culture that we are in, we're so into instant gratification, right? Like everything needs to be fast. So they think that the next social media strategy is going to be the break, or, the next strategy of hiring or delegation, things like that is going to be the break. But no, behind all of that, still you are the CEO, need to drive the strategies, right? Like, and 100%. And again, I was that CEO that delegated too soon, just because I had the ability, and
Mhm.
then I had to quickly step back in, not away, but rather step back in and say, no, actually, this is how I want to run things. Because
Mhm.
once, for example, when you're thinking that you don't have to do the hard work, for example, um, I can be writing if I really want to, but it takes some time for me to write content, etc., and things like that. But no one is ever going to tell the story, those version, or use the words that you want to tell your story.
Mhm.
And so, yes, there are many ways to delegate and automate certain things, but as a CEO, my best advice for you is to stick to your true stories and your true voice. And
Mhm.
it's really easy with having all the AI, all of the things to for your brand to be diluted and for your values to be fuzzy. And so yeah, I mean, it's truly work from the inside out. And unless and also not only is it a self-development journey, one of my coaches early on in my years, she said that business is really self-development on steroids.
Mhm.
Yes, it is. And as long and the longer you are in it, you probably could agree with me, Kimberly, is that entrepreneurship is a spiritual experience.
Mhm. Oh, it is. It is.
Like there's no way around that because we can't do it on our own, whether we believe in the universe, whether we believe in good people helping us doing what we need to do. We can't do it in silo. We cannot do it on our own. And I learned it the hard way. Trust me, I tried doing everything by myself to realize, wait a minute, that's not how the world works. That's
Mhm.
not how it spins, right? Yeah.
No, no. And you know, that with business, if if you I always tell people life is like a sine wave, it goes up and down. But if with business, if you're letting your life inside go up and down like extremes, your business is going to go up and down with extremes. And the key is to find that center. And so you're kind of doing a wave instead of a
Mhm.
big sine wave.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, it's definitely and I think for me too, it's important. I spoke about values, right? Like we call it our non-negotiables. Like I have four things that I do every single day without fail. It's faith, fitness, family, and fulfillment in
Mhm.
that exact order. Like I'm not going to not pray without working out. I'm not going to attend to anything unless I've worked out and like centered myself, right? Like I'm
Mhm.
going to attend to my family before I can do the work to attend to the world in fulfillment. And it's what you said, the waves is I keep thinking about is the rhythm of life that works for
Mhm.
you, right? And women, we get to create that. We get to create that, whatever that looks like. I have kids now, the rhythm is slightly different. You
Mhm.
have grown kids, that's different, but you have to figure out what that rhythm looks like for you, in your personal life. Then you incorporate your business into that.
Mhm.
We don't have a job where we go to where we work our lives around our business. We get to work our business around our lives.
Mhm.
That's the difference.
That was profound what you just said. Just say that again.
We are not employees where we work our lives around our work, but rather we're entrepreneurs for a reason. So we get to create a work around our life.
Yes, that
Yeah,
is so key. And that is just so freeing because
yes,
I call it putting the big rocks in first. You know,
absolutely.
you do the things that are important according to your values and make sure those are on the schedule. Like I say, you have to schedule them. You have to have them on the schedule. Then
Yes.
work comes in afterwards.
Absolutely. That is how it works with for me. That's how it works with the kids. They're young, they're only 7 and 4 right now, but they get it. Like they understand that when you get up in the morning, you need to do your morning routine, you need to do whatever you need to do. You don't just be in your PJs.
Mhm.
Like my kids know, they brush their teeth, they wash their face, they put on day clothes. Day
Mhm.
clothes. I don't care where you're going. You day clothes
Mhm.
and do what you need to do, like and it's truly it, like it's like, and in that space then you can really truly honor that yes, you deserve to put on something that is decent, you deserve to take care of yourself. And yes, establishing the non-negotiables is super important, and working everything else around it. I'm right now to the point where I'm definitely working less during the summer when their kids are off, but even next year, the goal is for me to be off July and August, or June and July, because
Mhm.
that's when they're off. And so you get to do that. So my launches are in May and January. And
Mhm.
so do that. And what's really interesting, and I think this is of value, is oftentimes we think that, oh, when we do that, we might not have clients that's willing to work with us at certain time. Things like, no, it does not work like that. When you have your boundaries set a certain way, everything else started working itself into the puzzle. So, and people really are going to learn to honor that. So like, for example, my team knows that at a certain time I will be with the kids, and or if I am, just like after today, this afternoon, we're leaving out of town, they know not to reach out.
Mhm.
And it's like, it's really learning to set boundaries, and that worthiness piece is related to that. We feel
Mhm.
like we have to be everywhere, we have to do everything for everyone. No, you have to do that for yourself first before you can do that for anyone else.
Right.
Like, that is just most basics, but like we are so used to doing everything really fast and filling up the schedule just to show and prove that whoever we're trying to fulfill the role for, and we forget ourselves. And that's why I'm so passionate about teaching CEOs to have the foundation and a rhythm and a business that really suit, their lifestyle. Depends on, what season of life they are in.
Yeah. And boundaries are so key. They're so key. So, if someone comes to you and they're in that position where you are, where they said, I just want to work for myself,
Mhm.
how do you help them sort through that?
Yes. So first and foremost, I congratulate them. It's a big, it's a big idea, right? Like, work for yourself is a big idea first and foremost. Yes, 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 because I'm an entrepreneur. So yes, congratulations. Secondly, I would ask them why. Because at the end of the day, no matter what happens, there's a why. As you can hear from my story,
Mhm.
my why was not making money,
Mhm.
right? My why was, oh my gosh, what can I do to prevent this tragedy ever happening to anybody? And how am I going to do that? Right? Like, that was just the calling, or the however you want to term it. That was my why. That was my reason. Then it became, okay, if you want to do that, how are you going to do that? Well, I have no idea because I am actually down and dark right now. Well, first, then maybe you should take care of yourself.
Mhm.
You see, it's like you just have to take the first step, but always asking yourself why, right? Because, and then truly asking yourself why, then after that would be look around to see who can you reach out to. I give that tip now because I learned it the hard way. I try to figure it out on my own. Don't try to figure it out on your own, because guess what, guys? There is so much resources out there. Google, AI, Chat GPT, YouTube, you name it. You name it. If you need information, the information is there, right? For anything that you're looking, anyone can be a self-starter and start a business, but they may give up and give in to the challenges if they don't have the why, right? And then that's the first piece. And then after that, do you have the right mindset, where then you have to set the foundation now that you're going to be working on yourself every single day as you are working on your business. Like, it's a non-negotiable. You cannot work on your business without working on yourself. That So those are just the first couple of steps that I would recommend for someone, to do. Is first, congratulate yourself.
Mhm.
Second, ask yourself why you want to do this thing, and what is that thing? What is the urge? What is that voice? What is it? See if anyone within your circle is doing it. Talk to them.
Mhm.
Seek
Mhm.
information, and then right away start working on yourself.
Mhm.
I mean, those are the exact steps that I took to get here.
Mhm.
But that's more like fast forward, right? Like, try and true.
Mhm.
It didn't take me those 4 steps. No, it took me years, to figure out, wow, okay, those are the things that I actually did to get to, where I needed to do to get to that point where I started, the business, right? As you can see, I took care of myself.
Mhm.
I went holistic health coaching certification. Then I started business. I had
Mhm.
my why early on at the very beginning. I answered the why, then the steps appeared, right?
Mhm.
As I follow the path. Yeah.
Yeah. So you said several times, first take care of yourself. So what do you mean by that? What kind of things are you telling people to take care of when they're taking care of themselves?
Yes. Okay. So guess what? We are humans at the end of the day, the most basics, the most basics, water, sleep, nutrition, exercise. So like the physical side of things, like that is guess what? That's how energy is produced,
Mhm.
right? Input, output. For us to have a high level of output, we have to put in, just like, how can you drive a car without gas, right? The most simple analogy. Same thing. Are you putting what you need into your system so that way you can operate at the high level? So that's taking care of yourself,
Mhm.
right? Like on a physical level there. So we talk, that's physical. Okay, emotional. Do you have a support system, or do you have a process for how you just take yourself through certain feelings throughout the day, right? Like I know I have the self-sabotage moments all the time where I'm like, I need to do that, but then I'm sitting over, you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. So emotionally, we have to understand how we're feeling on a really moment to moment and daily basis, and doing whatever it takes, just like how that's how I healed myself. Wait, once upon a time, all I was thinking about was, I mean, what's going to happen today? Because I was so wired for that, right?
Mm.
For years, in my childhood, all the way up to teenage and all the way up to 20s, and it's all fire, fire, fire that I have to put out, and taking care of myself and all of the things. So I was always waiting for a shoe to drop.
Mhm.
I was always waiting for something. Like it's like 5 minutes in for the day just started. I'm like, oh, it's too good already. Like something's gonna happen. And it's only been 5 minutes. I just woke up. You
Wow.
see how crazy, you really see that. And I'm like, wow, no wonder I was so bogged down, and always are in a I would say dark space, right? So emotionally. And then I would say that's related to the mental. Like I have to really start like realizing, oh my gosh, I don't want to feel like this. Well, then I may have to probably start changing my thought. Here's the key to all of it, guys.
Mhm.
Cognitive psychology, self-development, you name it. Take what you take. This is what you're going to take away from this call is every thought elicit a feeling,
Mhm.
right? It's nothing new. Feeling drives an action or non-action. Action equals result. So that's why we have to take care of ourselves on a mental level, because that's also feed. You're feeding not only your body physically, but you're feeding your mind and your mental body.
Mhm.
So we have to be onto ourselves with what are we thinking about throughout the day? Physical, emotional, mental, and then spiritual, which is very new for me. Like true transparency. I just found the Bible as I was trying to heal myself from my two miscarriages between my two kids. And that's only have been just a little bit over 5 years ago. Right. And I feel like I once and for all, I don't have to do it by myself. Right.
Mhm.
Because I feel like, whether, I mean, I was raised Buddhist, really interesting. I was raised Buddhist. So yes, we believe in our ancestors too. Like, right. Like when they pass, their spirit is still around, and they're in a way similar, like they are our angels. So I always grew up spiritual, but I just did not on that level. And I want to say that when it comes to spirituality, I don't want people to think that it's religion. It's not, right? It's really a knowing that we are all connected in some way, and that we exist with each other, in that like we can support each other, and everything is energy.
Mhm.
I'm exchanging energy with you right now, right?
Mhm.
And if you're listening into this podcast, you are exchanging energy. Right? Like you're providing energy to listening into the words that we're saying, and in a way you're receiving that. Like we're all receiving your energy. That's in a way, it's also spirituality. Like it doesn't have to be you going to church every Sunday.
Mhm.
So spirituality is very important, and it could just literally starting with quiet time for yourself.
Mhm.
And I really started, I just have a tendency to journal. I grew up with my grandfather, who was a great writer and speaker, and he was always writing. So I think I just grew up journaling, and that's how I really develop a habit for journaling my feelings. So
Mhm.
that's another way too, to really process everything that's going through the day. And from that place got me into sitting quietly with my thoughts, sitting and reflect on reading what I just wrote. And that is a mindfulness practice. That is spirituality in itself, meditation and quiet time, right? So and just being in true present for yourself, right? Like we have to be able to be present for ourselves before we can be present for anyone else. So that's how I would say take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Start somewhere, anywhere. Just set the intention that I'm going to take care of myself. Start with anything. It could just literally, I want to drink one more glass of water today.
Mhm.
And then once you do that, you acknowledge yourself for it. That is self care, right? Every single time you did something right, instead of brushing it off, you say, wow, I did that.
Mhm.
Great job. You know? And it could be literally practicing, just choose one thing. Like just think, choose the thing that is actually going, what you seemed like the smallest thing for me. For the longest time when people compliment me and or say thank you, I always deflect.
Mhm.
But that's not self-care. That's not receiving, right?
Mhm.
Receiving time for yourself, receiving compliments, receiving acknowledgement, that's how you build your capacity to feel worthy.
Mhm.
Yeah, on that, everything else is built upon. Like then you know how to ask for what you want, you know how to negotiate, you know how to enroll people into what it is that you're up to, things like that. But it's like if anyone can master being successful in life, the first piece is master taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
Because we all can use, practice. Even like I've been at it for years, but I feel like there's always that next level.
Mhm.
That for me right now, most recently, I'm very into like hard workouts and things like that, but I also now listening to my other side of me is like, you need something calmer. And I just recently, last month, discovered Tai Chi, and I feel incredible. Even 5 minutes with just me standing there, that may look like I wasn't doing anything, but I feel like I'm like on top of the world, so clear-minded. So it's exactly knowing what it is that you need and when you need it,
Mhm.
um, is self-care too. So I hope I answer your question. I know I give like a really big answer with lots of details to it.
No, it was awesome. Thank you. So, if people wanted to connect with you, if they wanted to work with you, this is the point where you can tell us, where do we find you? What services do you have available for people?
Yeah. So, again, I am on social. I am on Instagram, Facebook, and I have a website as well as fittoprofit.com. And it's all spelled out. It's fittoprofit.com. And as you can see, my name is spelled DeDee Cai. It's easy to find. That's all of my handles on social too. DeDeeCai. That's how you can find me. And we are really excited to be launching a brand new program in the fall this year. Everything that has to do with mindset for entrepreneurs to make six figures. In my experience, the first $100,000 is all mindset.
Mhm.
It's all mindset because any strategy works. But we're the only variable, right, for any strategy to
Mhm.
work. And so we are here to support them. And the greatest piece, which I am so in beta right now and it's being tested and it's working out really, really well, is the daily accountability piece that does not exist
Mhm.
in other programs. Right? You just do the thing, you meet once a week, and then off you go. But as you know, entrepreneurs work in silo. Like we're all by ourselves all of the time. We need to be able to be held accountable for things on a daily basis to practice having the discipline, and especially for the first $100,000. I mean, there were so many times where I couldn't even get myself to do the most important things, but that's all we get to focus on. We call it the MIT, which
Mhm.
is the most important thing. What is your MIT for each day? Like you have to report in what is the thing that you're going to do today. One thing, not too many,
Mhm.
one thing that you're going to do that's actually going to move your business forward. And that's what gets to be in the program. And I'm so excited about it. It's it's a mastermind format where you literally will be held accountable for a whole entire year because you get to run your business on an annual calendar, and we are there with you every single way. And then that's just not all. There's other things. Two other bigger elements within that program is that I'm also a certified money coach as well. And so we get to really talk about your money stories and heal your relationship with money.
Mhm.
Again, I had to heal myself to really see that, wow, money is not evil. It's what people do with the money,
Mhm.
you know? And I had to heal my relationship with that. And then last but not least, everything that we get informational wise and things like that is just on a conscious level. We have to work on rewiring our brain in a way that we can adapt and basically embody the new positive idea or thought or what you need to take action to get the result. So we get to work on rewiring your brain too in that process. So daily accountability, we have money coaching, and then we get to work on the subconscious mind. So that's what we have. I'm really super excited about
Yeah, sounds wonderful.
it.
So now I have a personal question for you. What gives you the most happiness and fulfillment in your life at this point?
Oh, yeah, this landed for me a few days ago as I actually was filling out my background check with my local church, where I'm going to do exact same thing that I do in business there. And was interesting. Someone said to me, "It's your passion if you're willing to do it for free, day in and day out." And my biggest fulfillment is knowing that I can help someone in some way with just one thing that they can do to change their life.
Mhm.
I mean, I have messages from friends literally from years, like we're still friends, but from conversations we had years ago, and they still say, "Wow, it was because our conversation, you changed my life, you changed my career." It was from one conversation. He moved from one city to the next city. His whole entire family left his career and embark on something completely different. But what gives me true fulfillment is knowing that someone has changed his or her life for the better because of something, that came in our conversation.
Beautiful. Thank you. Well, thanks for being on the podcast and sharing all your wisdom. And you said some really profound things. I just encourage people to watch this and watch it again because some of the things you said, if people implement it, it will make a huge change in their life just from this conversation.
Thank you. That's my hope. That was my intention as well too, to get on as many podcasts as possible. And if anyone, especially one person, just one person per podcast, here's what I had to say and go out there and do whatever is required. Yeah, this is how we collectively can make a difference. So I appreciate you for having this platform so we can do what we need to do to impact each other's lives. So thank you.
Yeah. So I have one last question before we finish. What is your best advice on living an incredible, amazing life?
Mm. I think you probably know the answer, Kimberly. It's probably related to everything I said into this point is invest in yourself. Yeah. There's only one version of you. Like invest in yourself, whatever that means for you. And I'm not saying go out and buy yourself a new car when you can't afford it. I'm not talking about anything that's external. I'm
Mhm.
talking about internal. What does that look like for you, right? Like it could literally mean you clear your schedule today because you don't have the emotional mental capacity to handle it and be okay with that. You investing in yourself, right? Yep. So my best advice would be invest in yourself from the inside out.
All right. Thank you so much, DeDee.
Thank you again, truly. Has been a pleasure. Thanks again, Kimberly, for having the space for us to have this conversation. And again, this is why we do what we do. And I love, I love telling my story, not in a way of portraying like who I am and things like that, but truly the lessons that I've learned put me on this planet for that reason. And I'm pretty spiritual too, so I think I am actually being molded and changed and things like that to do this. So I am still a work in progress. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Yes, you are welcome, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Yes, thank you so much, Kimberly.